Yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? I gotta get used to not moving the mic. Used to sitting there by myself. Welcome. This is episode 2, Redo. Christian in Focus. I am Christian Alexander, your host, here with my homegirl, Sierra Liggins, the one and only Southwest home. Sierra is my politically, she is the yin to my yang. You feel me? This is my progressive sister, and I'm her, obnoxiously moderate brother. And I thought redoing this yesterday because, from yesterday's stream, I messed up. I did not play the audio in the stream, and it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. So we're gonna redo it. I'm going to talk about some of the same things we talked about yesterday, but there's going to be another perspective. And I think it's good. Sierra and I have great debates all the time. And this is the first time that we're probably going to share. This is the first time that we're going to do this in public.
Yeah. We're going to be going in, honestly.
Yeah. No. Sierra, you want to tell the people about yourself?
I guess so. I'm Sierra. I'm born and raised here in Houston, Texas. I guess it's online, so not here, but Houston. I've been working in the marketing communications field for almost 7-8 years now. Went to Prairie View. That's where I met this guy. I'm part of HBAD alongside with Christian. And I think that my perspective usually comes from, I would say, more of a Black feminist, Black radical space, but also just centering ways that we all can be free. That's always my objective, is thinking about ways that we can all be free. So that's a little bit about me.
Freedom. Yeah. So, and I think that's the common denominator in our perspectives. I think yesterday or in a past show, I said that, one of the things that I have disdain for in our community is the fact that there are so many different fractions. There's so many groups. We was on the phone the other day and I called it the MLK parade dilemma, right? Where there are all of these brilliant, beautiful Black people who have these ideas on how we can uplift and save the race. And we end up being Booker T, Du Bois, and Garvey. Everybody got these massive followings of people, but all of these millions of people never actually came together in unison because there's no streamline of consciousness on how we should go about saving the race and being able to live our own Black experiences in our silos, but knowing that we have freedom in common. And that's something I think that Sierra and I have conquered in our political discourse. And I think that is really healthy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that we all can't come from the same space, even though we will want to have shared agendas. I think we have different experiences. We all have different lived experiences where we're going to have different perspectives around how we get there. But I think if we all share a similar agenda around what should be priority, I think then we can actually move towards freedom. And I think that's what we are constantly missing, is that shared agenda. I think we saw that last year in the election cycle. Some people had different points of views about what we should be prioritizing. I think that because of that, we saw a lot of people just disengage from the process completely. And I think that's the real challenge we're up against.
Well, that's a nice pivot. So speaking of the election cycle, I'm gonna kind of start getting into this news. We got limited time. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into it. So the National Democrats are gonna put Texas on the list of legislative targets for 2026, which is really good. The Republicans put a plan into action similar to this years ago. And you see how that turned out. We got our asses kicked a lot, right? So this is really, really good news. Hopefully they spend that money the right way. Hopefully that money trickles down into the Black community so that it can be spent in a way that'll be fruitful for all. What do you think?
I guess my thought goes towards who do we have in there advocating for us? Who do we have in the space that's actually going to make sure that money does come to us? because we know that, good faith Democrats are hard to come by, even though,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so who, my first question is, who do you think, now I guess I'm throwing this back on you, who do you think is in the position to make sure it does come to us?
I mean, I think our elected officials have, pretty good influence over that. Because they're directly inside of the machine, right? They're cogs inside of the machine. So I think they're gonna have a lot of influence over that.
But which elected official do you think?
Now that I don't know. Now that I don't know. I don't know. Now,
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I would think all the black ones.
We were reading for y'all.
All the black ones should be definitely advocating for them dollars to be able to spend in their communities. But especially, if you're an incumbent, like you're gonna want that money to come, you know what I mean? Because depending on your alignment with the party, they should be wanting to invest in you because you are giving them a good return on their investment.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it goes well, right? Like we can't afford to lose again as bad as we did before. So we need to get on the good foot with this. Like I think this is a good step forward, but it is to be seen.
Yeah, it's to be seen. I think it is a good step forward too, as long as we have the right champions and the positions to help us, move forward. Sometimes it's a little bit. It's a little shaky, but I would like to see that the right people do what's right for the Black community.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Thinking about the Black community, right? So the good Congresswoman has jumped in the race for United States Senate. Like I was saying last night, when I messed up my beautiful street. It is exciting that there are two heavyweights in the race. But the same race, I think, as far as like party structure is concerned, I don't know if it's the best thing.
Yeah, I'm excited that she jumped in the race. Jasmine Crockett jumped in the race. I was interested in seeing James Talrico and Colin go head to head, though. I wanted to see what that outcome was going to be. We did have them at HBAD last month speaking, and I had a great opportunity to listen to them and present their platforms. And I was honestly interested to see what was going to happen. Now, Jasmine get in the race, I think it totally flipped it on its head. I don't really think that Colin has. Unfortunately, I don't think Colin has a chance up against Jasmine. I think James has a little bit of a chance to get her, but I think because we're looking at Texas as a whole versus just Houston and Dallas,
I think
and the metros, I think he may have a chance to go up against her, but I don't know. I'm excited as long as we have a real chance to get what's his name out with this Corn. Yeah. As long as we have a real chance to get him out, I mean, it's a toss up of who's going to get that Democratic nomination, but as long as we have a real chance to get him out, I guess that's all that really matters.
Yeah, the one thing about Texas is going Texas.
Texas going Texas.
It's going Texas. I think that having two of our youngest, brightest stars going head to head right now in the primary, I don't know if that's the best strategy for the party. I think for them individually, for their stars individually, I think this is great for their brands, for the platforms that they're going to be able to use, to be able to put people on, advocate for people and stuff like that. But as far as like a party ticket is concerned, I don't necessarily know if this is the best thing for us, because we still don't have anybody that like everybody know that is, going to spar with the governor. We're not getting a lot of information, at least down here on the ground, about what the plan for the governor's mansion is and stuff like that. And that being the most high profile race on the ticket, you would think that, we will be putting our guns up, where we could, get the best return. But I don't see that happening. And that is troublesome for me.
Yeah.
Because what's the plan? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
are we, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we're doing this. What's our turnout plan then?
Mm-hmm.
What does
Yeah.
that look like? What is
Yeah.
it? What does it look like mobilizing these different communities and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because we really got a lot of weight on one side of the scale.
Yeah.
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 You know,
Yeah.
so, looking forward to it being seen. You know what I'm saying? While we on the political tip, go ahead and scan the QR code up there in the corner, and donate some money to turning out black voters. So before we got on the stream, Sierra and I were talking about so yesterday I made a comment, right, about I've been seeing a lot of messaging that pertains specifically to the immigrant community and things like that, and I'm feeling like we are getting into a bottle effect. It was called like a tunnel effect of messaging, like we did a couple of cycles ago, about like hyper focusing on individual communities and the things that are plaguing them. And it was something that I thought of when I was reading some news. Actually, I'll bring it up. I was reading some news. How do I work it? How do I work it? I don't know how to work it. Nope, that ain't it. That ain't it. Okay, let me take it down. All right, bet. I was reading some news. Here it is. The Republicans will regret ceding this issue to the left. And the issue is, and don't get me wrong, right? And I think I did this right. Hope I did. Anyway, I'm not gonna play the video. I tried it yesterday, it didn't work. Just not gonna do it again. But Mondami made a video entitled "Know Your Rights When Dealing with ICE," and it's a very informative video, something that like everybody in the community needs to know. They can be able to spread information, help their neighbors, and things like that. Because what is happening with ICE and the Trump administration is a travesty. It is they're violating people's human rights. It's not cool, like what they're doing. Like they're causing a lot of trauma and a lot of pain, and somebody needs to stand up for these people. But with that being said, I guess my not my argument is, but my thought was that like I'm seeing a lot of talking points that are pointed specifically at this issue, and I'm not seeing a lot of talking points that are being pointed at issues of the African American community specifically. And I saw that in previous cycles. And, like Sierra was making a great point. I'm going to let her speak on that point.
Okay, so I guess one of the things that I do agree with Christian on is that there are specific issues that come from our experience that sometimes that get missed in the conversations around like, focusing on what needs to be done policy-wise and legislation-wise. But the point that I was making to Christian is that we need to find ways of points of connections with each other, because these issues, while on the surface it says immigrants, we know that Black people always get lumped in somehow in the target. So it's kind of hard to segment Black American issues away from the issues that we hear, like especially like these immigrant, because we know that we're also targeted, like the Somali immigrant that was targeted the other day in, I believe, Minnesota, who was a U.S. citizen. So it's hard to say, that's an issue for immigrants and not an issue for Black Americans, when Black American is also oftentimes reduced to phenotype. So when I was in DC last year, people asked me multiple times if I was Habash, which I have never even heard that word before I was in DC. So it was a new thing for me, but it didn't stop people from assuming that that's who I was. So if it's that easy to assume identity based on what you look like, that means that it's all of our issues, because it could be any one of us. And because it could be any one of us, we need to find ways to connect with the immigrant community, and then find ways to also insert our agenda as well and making sure that they get what they need as well. So I hope I explained it.
No, I think so. I mean, and I think that I do agree that we should, make a rainbow coalition of sorts.
Yeah,
right?
the Black Panthers.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like when we were talking about it earlier, like my pushback was when it does come to these policies being drawn up and stuff like that for us, like when is that check coming due? Right? Like, if we do lend our voice, lend our vote, lend our ear, you feel me?
Lend our bodies.
Tears, right? Like when, every other marginalized group, they getting something. Like they leaving with something.
Leaving with something.
Like that's so like, what about the Negro man? What about the Negro woman and the Negro child? And that is not, I've been seeing a lot of people, right? Like, when you speak specifically, when you advocate for specifically for your race, it is deemed as being hateful or, like not universal. But that's excuse my friend, that's horseshit. Like,
yeah, and I don't deny that. I think that there's a lot of anti-Blackness in being able. I remember I was on a call a few weeks ago, and one of the client, she was talking about, she was speaking to needing to bring in Black affiliate groups, but she was like hesitant around saying the word Black.
Yeah,
and it's like we're not ashamed of being Black. You could say Black,
right.
Like even down to those mundane moments where like you're trying to, speak specifically about Black as an identity, that there's a little shame around it and people will tiptoe around it. So it is hard to advocate for yourself when people are still scared of even saying the word Black. And I think that enters in the political space a lot. And so I do think that, I do think it's necessary that we lead with Black issues, but I also know that right now what priority is and what feels more urgent right now is ICE and what they're doing to not the immigrant population, but also to us. Like we're included in that targeting. It's not just them. So it's hard to separate ourselves when we're also included in that targeting.
So what is your plea to Negroes who do not feel the way that you feel about like other people who may look like us in skin tone, but they, they are from other places?
I think that you can argue, like we can argue about our experiences, right? But does ICE have that conversation with themselves when they see you walking down the street? They're not having a conversation that you're different because you might have the same skin tone, but you might be someone else. They're not having that conversation.
So I personally, I don't know. I mean, maybe I could be mistaken for like a Cuban or something like that. I don't know. I don't know.
So, but now you're splitting hairs here because I'm sitting right next to you, right? And I'm not saying that I look ambiguous. But I had the experience of going place. I mean, last weekend I was in Atlanta, and two of my homegirls, they from Sudan, and so they're like, "Oh, y'all East African." I'm like, I'm from Texas.
You could
Texas.
be East African. Like if they didn't know, you know what I'm saying?
But there's more, I'm like the least. I'm like on the least of that pool. There's other people who look more ambiguous than I do.
No,
and their their lineage has been here for a long time. They are Black Americans. So I think it's just very harmful to start splitting down who looks unambiguously Black versus people who are ambiguously Black. Because then, like, you see what I'm saying? Like we're cutting it like really close. But who needs protection? Who doesn't?
So in that statement, it was more of like, I personally don't feel as though that, like, so I don't feel like I would be a victim to that.
Yeah.
Like, right. Like, and I mean, I don't, and maybe there needs to be, I need to have more conversations like this. So, I'm saying, I can see that perspective. But me personally, as a Black American, I don't feel like I'll be victim to that. Like, and so, and I can, and it is, it is, if you, right, like what they say, like, I mean, if something wrong is being done to people, like you should help those people not be wronged. Like even though I don't feel like it affects me, I definitely think that these people should be able to live their lives in an appropriate way, and they should find a more they should find a better way to deal with the civil issue that exists, and them not treated like a criminal issue. But for my question to you is, for people who do feel right, like unaffected, like myself, like how would you then speak to them about this in a way so that they can see it in the lens that you see?
I feel like I'm doing it right now by saying that you are splitting the Black community up by who looks unambiguously Black versus who doesn't. Like that's splitting us. We're not even talking about people who are a part of the immigrant community. I'm talking about people who, like my cousin came down from Kentucky and he was like, all y'all light skinned out here. You know, so that's not, you know, it's true. Houston people, we all kind of like a similar shade. And I hope this doesn't really come off colorist. I'm just really trying to get colorist. I'm trying to get to the point that Blackness in itself lives on a spectrum. And I think it's unfair to start divvying up by who is not going to be stopped by ICE because they look completely Negro, and people who will be stopped by ICE because you might be Somali, or you might be. I think that's completely like it goes against what we're trying to do here, you know. So I feel like my plea to other Black people who are unabashedly like Black and believe that your experience is different from other people who might be Black but part of the diaspora, and you feel very proud of that. I'm right there with you. I'm very proud to be a Black American born here. My grandmother's Canadian, but I don't think that counts.
You're from America.
I'm from America. That's even America, okay? So I'm very proud of my heritage too here, but I don't want to separate myself from those from the diaspora just because I might not be stopped by ICE because I don't appear to be from someone else. There's plenty of people who are part of the Black diaspora that were born here in America who could be potentially perceived as a different ethnicity, but still have the same skin tone as, still Black. And I think that's a cause enough for us to rally around them.
So, okay, so when we define in Blackness, we're defining it in a more of a Marcus Garvey term.
Like I'm looking at phenotype. I'm saying like if ICE is not having this like sophisticated debate around whether or not you are a Black American or if you are Somali or if you are Dominican, they're not having a sophisticated conversation. They will see a Black person that may look like they're from somewhere else, and they're stopping you. Like that Somali person, I think my boyfriend look like him. Yeah, Black.
Well, so I ask these questions, right? Because one, it's always good to learn and to have another perspective. But there are Negroes who work for ICE,
which is problematic,
right? Like but they believe that they are doing something for like America and stuff like that. And I don't, we could say the same thing about like people who become cops, different reasons, right? But what if they believe, right, that they are, the place? And that's why I'm asking, like, how are we defining Blackness? Because these people, like, you feel me, like I
think the definition of Blackness is like, it doesn't matter in this conversation because we're not talking about like just championing the Black experiences. We're talking about prioritizing stopping ICE because we are all a part of that target.
Yeah. Like
all of us. There are some of us who I guess are deemed more Black American than other people. Like you probably like, yeah, there's now a lot of ambiguity in who you are as a Black American. But there are a lot of people who exist on that spectrum who are born and raised here who are also targeted. And I feel like that is inhumane to like even mention, because the only reason why it matters is because we can also fall into it, which I think is problematic in itself. But the plea here is we are all a part of that target, because we can all easily be mistaken from someone that's not American. That it could be anybody. And if it could be anybody, it could be any one of us, then we should be protecting all of us. And that's just my point of view. But I'm not, I know there's some people, I'm not gonna be able to change their opinion about, those like people who are fundamentally Black. I'm not gonna be able to change their opinion, or people who are prioritizing, Blackness. If you're African, if you're an American descendant of child slavery, like, you're going to be die-ho on that. But I would like to offer that a lot of those people who exist in those spaces too are also, their phenotypes also resemble those a part of diaspora who could be mistaken for an immigrant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a rebuke. I don't have a rebuke at all. I mean, because what you're saying, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of those, fundamentally Black people, right? You know what I mean? I'm a Malcolm X type Negro. You know what I mean? Like, the American Negro, the American Negro, the American Negro. Like, I'm here to advocate for, my other brothers and sisters in color, for sure. But like, what's going on with them boys on the South Side? You know what I'm saying? What's like that, them, Like, I'm worried about if them young boys is able to get on the internet and learn how to code and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah. And I understand how that can become very singular and it cannot be inclusive. But my thing is in just I'm tired. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know how I'm tired. Yeah. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I read, I work, I protest, whoop. We still live in food deserts. We still don't get Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? Our schools are still underfunded. We still don't. I think, and I agree with everything you're saying. There's a lot of priorities that get left off the table that directly impact the Black community. I'm not saying that they don't. I don't think that we should stop advocating for them. I do think I agree with you that a lot of times that Black people put their bodies on the line and we never see anything in return from that. But ICE the reason why I'm pushing ICE to the front is because that's a dire issue for all of us. And it's easier to rally around something that impacts everyone than it is to rally around something that feels very, segmented. And if there is a time right now to build coalition, if there is a time, any time, to rally people around an issue, I think this is a time to say, attacking immigrants attacks all of us. We are a nation full of immigrants. It's hard, like, to sit there and try to dissect who's from where. Well, like, all those things are arbitrary. Like, each and every one of these classifications are arbitrary. Of course, there's some people, you kind of look like, oh, you look like you're from here, you look like you're from here. But a lot of that's arbitrary. Yeah. So, like, to draw the line on something that is made up, like race or ethnicity, when people are literally given license by the Trump administration to profile you. You made profiling legal. We're Black. Making profiling legal is a direct impact to us. So I think it's just kind of, I understand there's priorities, but that's a priority to me. That's like number one priority. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate your perspective. Like, definitely for me, I can't, I'm not gonna sit here and say that's the number one priority for me. It's not. But if there's information that I come across that I can share to be able to help people in those affected communities, then I definitely will. If I know anybody that is in, in relation to somebody in my community who is going through that or suffering through that, whatever I can do, help get them some legal aid or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna help every time. But I just think that for those who do not feel that way, right? And that's why I was going, to the why I was saying it seems like the messaging is what we was going through before, right? So, like, how are we going to unite the, you know what I'm saying, the overall community around this issue so that they feel like as passionate as you feel about this, and that will do enough to be able to move them to the polls because of said issue. You see what I'm saying? Like how, like, and because like I said, there are people, there are people who look like us who don't feel like, you know what I'm saying, that's them.
That's them. I know. I see it online all the time.
You know what I mean? Like that's them. You know what I mean? So like as a strategy,
I don't see that's the issue, because I feel like people who feel like that's them, I think it's going to be really hard to bring them in regardless. I think that, you know, if they cannot sympathize enough with the fact that the people are being snatched about the street, people that look like them are being snatched up at the street, or they look a little bit more ambiguous than I do, so I don't have to worry about that. If that's the way they see it, then I don't know if there's a strategy to bring them into the fold. You know,
well, this fold I'm speaking of is like this, the overall broader community tank of this Democratic Party in general, right? So like that's why I'm saying the messaging is starting to feel a little siloed in this one specific space. Like, so how do we tailor the messaging so that if there are people who do feel the opposite, but like y'all still stand on the same side of like justice, like in a you know, in a big tent kind of way, how do we then reach and touch those people? You feel what I'm saying? Without like, you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think, because the best way I think to message to them is through the relatability aspect of it. You know, like this could be you. This could be you.
Yeah.
If it could be you, then it's your issue.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of hard for me to think of anything outside of that.
Yeah.
That will bring them into the fold. I think maybe the other thing would be like, what can it get out of this? You know, and trying to position that as well in the conversation, because I think the issue a lot of times with Black Americans and rallying around other issues that don't particularly pertain to us is we feel as though we don't get anything out of it.
Right.
So it's I think part of the strategy has to also be positioning what we can get out of it at the center of it for them. And I think the best thing to say is one, we eliminate racial profiling. We get that back out of politics, because why is that a thing anyway? So how did we allow racial profiling to become legal again? That's a big thing that harms our community and has always harmed our community. So,
I mean, touche.
You don't think racial profiling has harmed our community?
No, for sure.
Okay,
it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, touche. Like, no, I don't disagree. It's fucked up. Like, nobody should be profiled in any way. Like, you should, Martin Luther King, content of character. You shouldn't profile me. It's rude. Like,
it's rude.
Your mama should have raised you better. Like, because you know what you know what I mean? What's happening?
Yeah. I'm about to head out though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. This was very riveting. I had a great time. This was great conversations. Great redo for episode 2. You are actually my first guest. Yes, like this is, especially in this format.
This is my first podcast, so I guess it's a lot of firsts.
I mean, well, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. I'm so embarrassed, but you did a great job. Understand. I get stage fright, but luckily,
I got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's some lessons learned. I'm like, I would never wear a top like this again. Right. It blends in too much.
Okay.
It blends in too much for the screen.
I mean, but I'm glad, everything worked out. We didn't have any blunders. It was all good, and it was a little bit shorter. I think this is shorter and sweet. I usually be sitting here by myself talking for an hour. But I'm
gonna try to pull up that next Thursday. Next week.
You know what I'm saying. Next Thursday.
What is next Thursday?
I don't know what day it is, but next Thursday we are gonna be talking about the Silk Road, that is the internet. Sierra told me that like I shouldn't put this plan on the internet, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. The revolution will be
I
televised.
think that would be a great conversation in itself to talk about, like, where do we strategize? Because we know what Colin Pro did to.
They did, bro, but that's my whole argument about it. Every time boys talking about we need to build something, they burnt down this, they burnt down that, they got rid of this, they got rid of that. But anything worth having, for me anyways, is worth striving for. And if I'm really about that shit, I'm about dying for it.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we definitely need to strategize. We need to get to, we need to get to moving forward with, getting what we need for the Black community. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to be strategic about where we be strategic.
I mean, well, we're not going to use Signal. We're not going to use Signal, but you know what I mean? Like, I definitely, the medium, the internet is the internet where it's at. Mm-hmm. Like, and everybody, I got some stats on Black people in the internet. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the new financial revolution.
Yeah.
Like, this is the internet. I keep saying it is the largest direct-to-consumer market in the history of the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, we talk like you put together a little mutual fund.
I'm like scratching my head. The feds.
The feds. I ain't worried about the come on. Come and take it. I live in Texas.
Okay. Everybody's strapped.
Everybody's strapped. Mm-hmm. Everybody. Even the guy on the corner sleeping outside with the 3 dogs.
Okay.
He's strapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. This is Christian in Focus, episode 2. I am the Christian Alexander, and
I'm Sierra.
You can follow me on Instagram at the THEE, like Megan Thee Stallion, Christian Alexander, spelled like you love Jesus, and Alexander the Great. Holla at your boy. And you can follow Sierra where?
I had to look at my thing. It's CCEE4L. C4L. C for life. I got that from 21 Savage.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yo, 21 and Drake, they just dropped a new track.
Oh, I thought you were about to say how 21 said that Kendrick Lane.
He might think he lame.
He said he lame for liking rap the way he do. I'm like,
you know what? 21 super cool. He a cool ass nigga. Like, he like one of them really, really like Southern. I'm so cool, and I be like on the block all the time. You can't just be that. You can't be liking stuff a lot. Them kind of niggas, they don't like. You can't be liking stuff a lot. It's lame. That's what they're gonna tell you, lame.
I mean, it's nerdy. When you like something a lot and you like really into it, you do be a nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd, so that's things I nerd out about.
Yeah, I mean, but hood niggas don't appreciate that. They gonna tell you lame.
You lame.
Yeah. That's what he did. He just hood nigga Kendrick. Kendrick is a very passionate artist. You know what I'm saying? He nerds out about his craft.
Yeah, he nerds out about his craft. I respect that though.
I mean, it is respectful.
And we grew up. We're talking into this, but we grew up. I feel like we grew up around the same time. Like, we grew up on people being serious about his hip hop. Just being serious about rap.
Yeah.
We grew up in that. So I appreciate when someone takes hip hop or rap, wherever, interchangeable. But we take hip hop seriously.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. That's just who he is. He just like, he big boy on ATL. But anyway, we finna go, y'all. Yeah. We gotta go. You gotta go. Do the calls. Parenthood calls. We signing out. Peace, love.